Mom, stop. Just stop right there. Valeria's hand was raised, palm out, like a traffic cop halting a pileup. She didn't look me in the eye. She was looking at my shoes, sensible, orthopedic loafers that cost more than her entire outfit, but didn't scream luxury in the way her crowd understood. She looked at my hair, styled in the same classic bun I've worn since 1990. Then, she looked at the guests behind her, a sea of women in beige and cream silk, holding champagne flutes that sparkled in the afternoon sun. You're ruining the aesthetic, Mom. She hissed, her voice a razor blade wrapped in a whisper. This is a curated event. It's for the gram. It's for the influencers. Look at you. You look like yesterday. You look like grandmothers are supposed to look in storybooks, not at a high-end launch for my baby. Launch? I asked, the heavy gold box in my arms trembling slightly. It's a baby shower, Valeria. It's a celebration of family. It's a brand activation, Mom. God, you just don't get it. You never get it. She stepped closer, smelling of expensive white wine and desperation. Please, just go. Leave the gift if you want, but you can't be in the photos. You clash with the vibe. Go home. I'll tag you in a story later. Maybe. I looked past her shoulder. I saw Camila, my granddaughter. My Cammy, the girl whose skinned knees I had bandaged, whose tears I had dried when her first boyfriend broke her heart, whose university tuition I had paid in full cash up front so she wouldn't start life with debt. She was standing by a tiered cake that looked like a modern art sculpture. She saw me. She saw her mother blocking my path. She saw the hurt that must have been written on my face, plain as day. And she turned around. She laughed at something a friend said, flipped her long, chemically straightened hair, and pretended I didn't exist. My name is Soledad Vance. And if you want to hear more stories about how the tables turn, subscribe to the channel and let me know where you're listening from. That was the moment. It wasn't a crack, it was a shatter. The sound of 40 years of unconditional love breaking against the hard concrete of their vanity. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't beg to be let in. I looked at the heavy box in my arms. Inside, wrapped in layers of tissue paper, was the deed to a 4-bedroom colonial house in the best school district in the city. Fully paid for. A gift to ensure my great-grandson would always have a roof over his head. Next to it was a cashier's check for $500,000. Startup money, I had called it in my head, a cushion for the sleepless nights and the diaper runs. I slowly lowered the box. My knees popped, a reminder of the years I spent standing on factory floors building the fortune that paid for this very party. I placed the box on the dirty welcome mat. Enjoy the aesthetic, Valeria, I said. My voice was low, steady, devoid of the warmth that usually colored it. I hope it keeps you warm. I turned my back. The walk to my car felt like a mile. The gravel crunched under my sensible shoes. The bass of the DJ's music thumped against my chest like a second, erratic heartbeat. I got into my 10-year-old sedan, a car I kept because it was reliable, not because I couldn't afford a Bentley. And I sat there for a moment. My hands gripped the steering wheel, leather-worn smooth by time. I didn't cry. Crying implies loss. And as I looked in the rearview mirror at the balloon arch costing more than most people make in a month, I realized I hadn't lost a family. I had lost a delusion. The drive home was a blur of highway and heartache. I live in a large estate on the outskirts of the city, a place my late husband, Arthur, and I bought 30 years ago. It's too big for one person, really. The hallways echo. But today, the silence wasn't lonely. It was clarifying. It was the silence of a judge's chambers before the gavel comes down. I walked into my study, a room smelling of old paper, lemon polish, and hard work. I sat at my mahogany desk, the same desk where I audited my first textile shipment, the same desk where I signed the deal that put Vance fabrics in department stores across the country. I opened the top drawer and pulled out a fresh legal pad. I didn't grab a tissue to wipe my eyes. I grabbed a red pen. Let's look at the aesthetic, I whispered to the empty room. I began to write, not a diary entry, but an audit. I am, by nature and trade, a businesswoman. Emotions are volatile, numbers are facts. And the numbers told a story of parasitic drain that would have bankrupted a smaller company. Valeria's penthouse, purchased by me in 2014. Title remains in my name for tax purposes, her idea to avoid asset seizure from her second divorce. She pays $0 rent, market value rent, $8,500 per month. Camila's Range Rover, leased through Vance Fabrics as a company vehicle for a consultant. Camila has never consulted on anything other than how to spend money. Lease payment, $1,400 per month. The consulting allowance, a monthly transfer of $12,000 to Valeria to keep her from feeling stifled by a 9 to 5 job. Credit cards, the Black Card, the Platinum Amex, both supplementary cards on my primary account. Auto pay set to full balance every month. Last month's bill, $24,000. Spas, dinners, a weekend in Tulum. Insurance, health, car, home, life, all paid by me. Club memberships, the country club, the yacht club, they don't own a boat, the Soho House, paid by me. I stared at the list. The red ink looked like blood on the page. It was bleeding me dry. Not just financially, I could afford it, but spiritually. I had raised them to be invalid. I had crippled them with comfort. By trying to give them the life I never had, I had robbed them of the life they needed to build. It was Sunday afternoon. Robert, my attorney and oldest friend, was likely on the golf course. I didn't care. I dialed his personal cell. He answered on the second ring. Soledad, everything okay? You usually only call on Sundays if the house is on fire. The house isn't on fire, Robert, but the bridges are burning. My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, cold, metallic. I need to execute some changes. Immediately. Changes to the will. To everything. The gift for the baby, the house in Los Alamos, and the check. Yes, the surprise. Did they love it? They never saw it. Or rather, they didn't open it because the packaging, wasn't pretty enough. Robert, cancel the check. Put a stop payment on it now. I don't care about the fee. There was a pause on the line. Okay, done. And the deed. We never notarized the final transfer signature, did we? It was sitting in my safe until yesterday. Correct. It's legally still yours until that final signature is wet ink. Good. Keep it that way. File a notice that the property is being retained. And Robert, this is the big one. I need you to initiate the scorched earth protocol on the accounts. Robert choked on whatever he was drinking. Soledad, are you sure? Scorched earth means freezing the supplementary cards, canceling the recurring transfers, and locking the trust access. They won't be able to buy a pack of gum. They want to be independent, I said, looking out the window at my well-manicured lawn, paid for by my sweat. They want to be modern women. Modern women pay their own bills. Cut it all. Effective immediately. It's going to be a war, Soledad. Valeria isn't resilient. Then she'll have to learn. Or she'll break. Either way, I'm done being the crutch. Do it, Robert. And send Manuel over in the morning. I have a job for him. I hung up. I sat in the growing shadows of the room as the sun went down. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the crushing weight of obligation. I felt light, dangerous but light. The first tremor of the earthquake hit around 8:30 p.m. I was in the kitchen making a simple dinner, toast and tea. My phone, which I had left on the counter, lit up. Valeria. I watched it ring. Camila. I watched it ring. Then the text started. Mom, are you okay? Grandma, pick up. Mom, something is wrong with the bank. My card got declined at the caterer. It was humiliating. Everyone was watching. I buttered my toast. Humiliating. Yes, I imagine it was. Just like standing on a doorstep being told you're an eyesore is humiliating. An hour later, the tone shifted from confusion to euphoria. They must have finally deigned to open the ugly box I left on the mat. MOM. Oh my God. Voice note from Valeria 045. Mom. Are you crazy? 5 million pesos. And the house. The Los Alamos house. We are screaming. We are literally screaming. I'm sorry I was bitchy earlier. I was just so stressed with the event planner. You know how it is? This changes everything. We love you so much. Call me back. Voice note from Camila 030. Grandma, you are the GOAT. Seriously, I'm crying. This house is going to be perfect for the nursery. We're already looking at Pinterest for renovations. Love you. I listen to them in the silence of my kitchen. We love you. The words felt transactionary. They loved the check. They loved the brick and mortar. They didn't love the woman who drove 40 minutes to deliver it. I didn't reply. I turned off my phone, went upstairs, washed my face, and applied my night cream. I slept better than I had in a decade. Monday morning broke gray and drizzly. The weather matched the storm that was brewing. I was up at 6 a.m. I put on my work clothes, not the fancy suits I wore for board meetings, but the clothes I wore when I meant business. Slacks, a crisp white shirt, a blazer. At 9:15 a.m., the intercom buzzed. It wasn't a polite tap. It was a continuous, frantic press. I walked to the video monitor in the hallway. There they were. Valeria looked like she hadn't slept. Her hair was pulled back in a messy knot, and she was wearing yesterday's sweatpants. Camila was next to her, looking pale and frightened. I pressed the talk button. Good morning. Mom, open the gate. Valeria screamed. Her voice cracked. What is going on? The bank app says stop payment on the check. And I called the realtor to get the keys. And he said the property is off the market. Did you get hacked? Is this a mistake? It's not a mistake, Valeria. I said, my voice calm, amplified by the speaker system, so it echoed down the driveway. It's a correction. A correction? What does that mean? We spent money, Mom. We put deposits down on the nursery furniture. We hired a designer this morning. With what money? I asked. The money you thought I gave you, or the money you earned? Mom, stop playing games. Open the gate, it's freezing. I can't. I said, I wouldn't want to ruin your aesthetic with my old age. Remember? I clash with your vibe. There was a stunned silence. The memory of her cruelty hung in the damp air between us. Mom, you can't be serious, Valeria whispered. That was just party talk. I was stressed, and I was humiliated. I replied, you wanted a space for young, modern people. Well, young, modern people pay their own mortgages. They buy their own cars. They fund their own lifestyles. What are you saying? Camila shouted, stepping closer to the camera. Grandma, I'm pregnant. You can't do this to me. Stress is bad for the baby. You know what else is bad for the baby, Camila? I shot back. Being raised by people who think dignity is something you can buy. I'm doing this for the baby. I'm cutting off the rot before it infects him. We have no money. Valeria shrieked, losing all composure. The accounts are frozen. The cards are declined. I have zero cash. Then I suggest you get a job, I said. I heard the mall is hiring. Or maybe you can sell some of those aesthetic handbags you love so much. They retain value well, don't they? You're a monster. Valeria spat. I hate you. You're going to die alone in this big house. Maybe, I said, but I'll die with my self-respect, which is more than you have right now. I saw Valeria turn to storm back to her car, the company Range Rover. But as she grabbed the handle, nothing happened. She pulled again. Locked. What now? She screamed, kicking the tire. I watched on the monitor as Manuel, my steadfast driver of 20 years, stepped out from the side gate. He was wearing his uniform, holding a clipboard. He walked up to them, his face impassive. Manuel. Valeria cried, relief washing over her face. Thank God. Mom is having a psychotic break. The car won't start. Do you have the jumper cables? Good morning, Miss Valeria, Manuel said. I could hear him through the gate microphone. The car isn't broken. It has been remotely disabled by the fleet management service. Fleet management? It's my car. Camila yelled. Technically, Miss Camila, it belongs to Vance Fabrics and Amp Textiles. And since you are not an active employee, the CEO, Dona Soledad, has ordered the repossession of company assets. I need the keys. You're kidding, Valeria gasped. She looked at the camera, her eyes wide with horror. Mom, you're taking the car. It's a company car, Valeria, I said through the speaker. For people who work. Hand over the keys, or Manuel will call the police and report it stolen. Valeria looked at Manuel. She looked at the house. She looked at the long, empty road behind her. She threw the keys on the ground. Fine, she screamed. Keep it. Keep everything. We don't need you. We'll figure it out. I hope so, I said. And Valeria, check your email. Robert sent you a notice regarding the penthouse. Since I'm downsizing my liabilities, I'm putting it on the market. You have 30 days to vacate. I'd start packing. I cut the feed. The screen went black. I leaned my forehead against the cool plastic of the monitor casing. My heart was pounding, but not from fear, from the adrenaline of finally, after decades, standing up. The next month was a study in silence and noise. The noise came from them, a barrage of texts, emails, and voicemails. They cycled through the stages of grief daily. Denial. This is a joke, right? When are you sending the transfer? Anger. I'm getting a lawyer. You can't evict me. She couldn't. Robert had ironclad paperwork. Bargaining. Mom, let's just talk. I'll apologize publicly. I'll make a post about you. Depression. We are eating ramen noodles. Are you happy? I didn't answer. I deleted the messages without listening to the end. I wasn't being cruel. I was holding the line. If I gave an inch, they would take a mile. They were addicts, addicted to my money, and I had to be the cold turkey. But while they spiraled, I bloomed. I realized I had spent the last 10 years waiting by the phone, waiting to be needed. Now I stopped waiting. I booked a ticket to Italy solo. I had always wanted to see the Amalfi Coast. Valeria had always said, Mom, you can't travel alone. You'll get lost. I went. I didn't get lost. I ate pasta. I drank wine. I flirted with a charming waiter named Giovanni, who didn't care about my aesthetic, only my smile. I went back to the textile factory. I walked the floor. The smell of raw cotton and machine oil was better than any perfume. I started a mentorship program for young female entrepreneurs. I spent my days reviewing business plans, not credit card bills. I felt useful. I felt powerful. Meanwhile, the reports trickled in through the grapevine. Valeria had sold her Birkin bags. Camila had dropped out of her private Pilates classes. They had moved out of the penthouse 2 days before the deadline, leaving it a mess, which I paid to clean, but deducted from the final sale proceeds. They were living in a 2-bedroom apartment in a working-class neighborhood. San Rafael, a decent neighborhood, but not aesthetic. And then the silence changed. It stopped being angry. It became genuine. 6 months later, it was a Sunday. Sundays used to be the hardest days, the days I waited for them to visit, only to be canceled on because something came up. The doorbell rang, not the frantic buzzing of 6 months ago, a soft, hesitant ring. I checked the camera. It was Valeria and Camila, and a stroller. I hesitated. My hand hovered over the button. Was I ready? Were they ready? I opened the door, but I stood in the threshold. I didn't invite them in yet. Valeria looked different. The Botox had worn off, revealing lines around her eyes that made her look human. She wasn't wearing designer labels. She wore jeans and a simple sweater. Her nails were short, unpolished. She looked tired, bone tired. Camila was pale, with dark circles under her eyes, rocking the stroller back and forth instinctively. "Hi, Mom," Valeria said. Her voice was raspy. "Valeria, Camila, we were in the neighborhood. Valeria lied poorly. We wanted you to meet Leo." I looked at the stroller. "My great-grandson. He's sleeping," Camila whispered. "He has colic. He cries a lot, but he's sleeping now." I stepped aside. "Come in." They walked into the foyer. They looked around like they were entering a cathedral. They noticed the silence, the peace, the smell of lavender and lemon. We sat in the living room. I didn't offer them money. I offered them tea. "How are you?" I asked. "Tired," Valerio admitted, staring into her teacup. "I got a job. At the mall. In a department store." "Oh, yeah, in the returns section. People are mean. They yell at you for things that aren't your fault." She looked up at me, her eyes watering. I never knew. I used to be that person yelling. Now I'm the one standing there, wishing I could sit down because my feet are killing me. I nodded. "It's honest work, Valeria. There is dignity in it. And the apartment—" I asked Camila. "It's small," Camila said. "It has no elevator. Carrying the stroller up 3 flights of stairs is a nightmare. And the washing machine broke yesterday. I had to wash Leo's onesies in the sink." She looked at her hands. They were red and chapped. "I'm sorry, Grandma," she said suddenly, her voice breaking. "I know we deserved it. We were awful. We were so spoiled. I didn't know. I didn't know how much a gallon of milk cost. I didn't know that electricity gets cut off if you miss one payment. I thought it was magic." "It wasn't magic, Cammy," I said softly. "It was me. It was my life. My time." "We know," Valeria said. Tears spilled over her cheeks. "We know now. And I'm sorry. Not because I want the money back. I don't expect it. I miss you. I miss my mom." I looked at them. They were broken, but they were real. The varnish had been stripped away, leaving the raw wood underneath. And raw wood, I knew from experience, could be built into something strong. I stood up and walked over to the stroller. I pulled back the blanket. Leo was beautiful. He had the Ramirez nose. My nose. I picked him up. He stirred, opened his eyes, and looked at me. He didn't care about my shoes. He didn't care about the aesthetic. He just wanted to be held. "Hello, little one," I whispered. "I'm your great-grandmother, and I'm going to teach you everything." I sat back down with the baby in my arms. "I won't give you the allowance back," I said firmly, "and I won't give you the house. That money is in a trust for Leo's education now. He won't touch it until he's 25. Valeria nodded. "I understand. I don't want it. I want to earn my own way. I'm up for a promotion to floor manager next month." "That's wonderful," I said, and I meant it. But I continued, "I am cooking a roast today. It's too big for one person. If you want to stay for dinner, you can, but you have to help chop the vegetables. Valeria smiled. It was a weak, watery smile, but it was the most beautiful thing I had seen in years. I can chop vegetables. I'm getting pretty good with a knife. And I'll set the table, Camila said, wiping her eyes. We spent the afternoon in the kitchen. We chopped, we stirred, we laughed. Not the fake cocktail party laughter of the past, but the deep belly laughter of tired women finding comfort in each other. At one point, Valeria looked at me. Mom, you look good. You look happy. I am. I said, I'm going to Greece next month. Another solo trip. That's amazing, she said, and for the first time, there was no jealousy in her voice, only respect. That evening, as they left, carrying leftovers in Tupperware containers instead of checks in envelopes, I stood at the door and watched them go. They walked to the bus stop down the road. It was a long walk, but they walked it with their heads up. I closed the door and locked it. I went back to my study and opened my journal. I picked up the red pen, but this time I didn't write a list of debts. Valeria, promoted. Camila, good mother. Soledad, free. I realized then that the aesthetic of my life wasn't about the perfect house or the perfect clothes. It was about the messy, painful, beautiful work of growing up. Even at 72, they thought I was ruining their picture. In the end, I was just fixing the focus. And now, finally, the image was clear.